Hey guys, Josh here from Sportitude, and today it's a shoe review and it is going to be on the New Balance Fresh Foam Hierro version 5. This trail shoe here is one of my absolute go-tos at the moment for trail running. And the reason being is there is a lot to like about this shoe. There's a completely new take on every aspect, outsole, midsole and upper, that we're going to get through in today's review. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. So profiling the foot type that could run in this shoe here. Now, no surprises here. There is a lot of variability with foot placement when it comes to trail running. So your traditional trail shoes, they don't like to overcomplicate things with extra support on the medial side or extra support on the lateral side. Usually brands will sort of introduce stabilizers, both equally sort of placed on the lateral and medial side. But this shoe, the Hierro, is a neutral shoe. There is no extra assistance that's going to sort of adjust your static position within the shoe itself. Okay, so talking about the outsole first, which is a quite an interesting topic of discussion when you're talking about trail shoes, because the outsole, one, needs to be really durable, but also offer plenty of protection to give you lots of confidence when your foot's making contact with the ground. So what New Balance have done is they've partnered up with Vibram and they've created an outsole called Mega Grip. So what they've engineered, or how they've executed this Mega Grip, is they provide sort of, you can almost say, strategically placed outsole pods that help when you're going up the hills, grabbing through the forefoot, help pull you up those loose terrains, and when you're coming downhill, obviously providing a little bit more confidence, because when we're descending down a hill, it can be a bit nerve-wracking, especially if you're doing it with speed. We tend to overstride a little bit, therefore we put a lot more pressure towards the back of the shoe. Hence you see this little flap through here, okay? So there is sort of, no, it's not a mistake. When I first saw it, I thought, what have they done? They've left too much rubber on the back through here. But no, what it does is it actually helps catch the foot when you're descending and gives it a little bit more purchase, which will slow down ever so slightly that first purchase with the ground, which then helps take a little bit of load off as you transition through your gait cycle as you're coming down the hills. Okay, so the outsole, very unique. Lot of surface area through here. So again, when we're talking trail running, you are going to utilize every square millimeter of this outsole, and that's why they partnered with such a company as Vibram to execute this magnificent Mega Grip we see in front of us. Now let's move to the midsole, okay? Now Fresh Foam X is the new Fresh Foam technology that New Balance have introduced in the back half of 2019. Now it's a combination of a couple of different things. It's a very soft cushioning system, but actually also provides a really propulsive feel through the forefoot. So again, for trail runners, your first point of contact with the ground is going to be anywhere from the back of the heel to the midfoot and also the forefoot when you're going up hills, of course. So therefore, you need to have a perfect combination of sort of absorption and responsiveness, propulsion. So a lot of the forefoot engineering in this Fresh Foam X is about dampening the load a little bit, but also getting it out of your gait cycle, so that propulsive feel through toe off. So the shoe itself is a very nice feel, not too soft by any means. There's certainly a lot of softer shoes out there in this trail market, but it needs to have some element of responsiveness. You don't want to be sinking too much when you're running trails. It just puts a little bit too much stress on the foot, the ankle, shins, knees, hips, etc., because you don't want to be having to search for restabilizing yourself when you're in a soft shoe or too soft of a shoe on that trail terrain. 8mm offset, which I've touched on, so 8mm heel to toe drop. So again, a little bit lower than your traditional running shoes out there, your road running shoes, which are in and around your 8, 10s and 12mm. There are shoes below that, of course, but 8mm is a nice little drop, I feel, in a trail running shoe. Coming up to the upper, which is actually probably my favorite part of this shoe. I don't usually say that when it comes to running shoes, but yeah, this shoe here has got a lot of magic going on. So New Balance have sort of layered the upper with a TPU base, or sort of a layering, I should say, not base, but what that TPU will do is it works as a bit of a water repellent. So it's not waterproof, it's not Gore-Tex, but it is going to repel sort of your sort of splashes and wet grass, anything like that. We're going to get a little bit of water that could find its way on top of the shoe. It won't sink in through the actual lining and make its way to your sock. So they've done that and they've executed it on a breathable construction as well. So when you go from one extreme to the other, when we think all things waterproof, Gore-Tex, there is a subtle bit of breathability with Gore-Tex. But let's be honest, it doesn't breathe quite as well as your open mesh from your running shoe range. So this sits sort of halfway between the two. So you've got ventilation for your trail running, but you also have that water protection as well, which is very, very important for your trail running. A couple of other little features with the upper, you've got the little pull tab here, which just assists getting the shoe on and off, which sort of combines this little tongue overlaying through here as well. So easy access for you as a trail runner. And then talking about the upper itself, it's sort of not really gusseted in, but there is an attachment between the tongue and the outside lateral lining as well. So there is some security which is used through how the tongue is attached to the midsole, both medial and lateral side through there. So it does give a bit more security in the foot because we don't want that foot moving around too much when we're running trails. So it's a nice execution on support without feeling too tight and too constricted through there. As you come through to the forefoot, toe guard protect or toe protect, New Balance have called it. So again, this little piece at the front through here is a slightly harder wearing overlay, which is going to protect the end of your toes from sticks, rocks, twigs, etc. that we tend to cross on the trails. So you're not going to feel everything when you sort of have to unfortunately kick a stick out of the way. It's going to protect not only your toes but also protect the upper of the shoe as well. So nice execution, not too intrusive, but it's certainly there to give a bit of protection. One thing that I will like to touch on, if you've tried the previous version of this shoe and you found that sort of booty construction a little bit too restrictive, essentially I think New Balance have listened and they've adjusted that. So the extra space we get through here in foot entry is fantastic. It allows us to execute an orthotic if need be. We had a little bit of a tough time putting orthotics in the older model, so New Balance of course have just listened and created a wee bit more real estate at the back through here as well. And one thing to touch on before we finish up the upper is the internal part of heel counter. Obviously heel counters are very, very important when you're running trails. You don't want the base of your heel slipping and sliding around too much. It needs to be nice and secure. So therefore that internal heel counter just provides a bit of extra stability, which is really, really important. And the lining on the inside, we're talking a little bit of sort of memory foam, which is sort of encapsulated around the back of that lining on the inside through here. Nice and soft without being too intrusive on that foot. Sometimes I think brands whack in too much foam around that collar, which is trying to create a lot of comfort, but it can also feel like your foot's being suffocated inside the shoe. So there's a fine line between having too much padding and not enough, and I think they've executed it really well with this padding lining through the back of the heel counter. Okay, to finish off with the width offerings in the Hierro version 5. There is a D in the ladies and a 2E in the men's. So we're talking the broader widths on offer only here in Australia. So New Balance didn't bring in a B width and they didn't bring in a D width in men. So B width ladies and D width men's are no good. We've gone wider width. So the D only and then the 2E in the men's. Now, that is not a bad thing in my humble opinion, because there is a shortage of very good neutral mileage running shoes offered in a widths in our market here in Australia. So again, New Balance have sort of put themselves in a great point of difference here. They have been known to be the width brand for a number of years, and by doing this and executing this width only, I think it's a fantastic move here in Australia. So well done to New Balance. There you have it guys, the New Balance Fresh Foam Hierro version 5. A phenomenal new update from New Balance. Cracking little shoe. Now guys, if you've got any comments on this shoe or any queries, or you'd like to let us know how you have gone in this shoe, please drop a comment in this video below. If you've got any other questions, please let me know. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. We love to give as much information to all sorts of people out there in and around running shoe selection. Until next time guys, happy running and we'll see you soon.